And welcome. This is Mary Ellen McGonagle with your Friday afternoon MEM Edge show. And as we head into a welcomed long weekend, lots to cover as always. Let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda for today's show. As usual, we are going to take a close look. Where are the markets and where are they currently, and what can we look forward to going forward? As always, that is one of the main focuses of this show, is to help you formulate a plan, not just for next week, but also beyond, how you can get in front of stocks poised to outperform the markets. And so one of the other agenda items for this week is going to be downtrend reversals. We're seeing a lot, not all are taking hold, but there is also bottom fishing. That's another area that we're going to take a look at during this period right now. And then screening for most actives. And I'm going to share with you the relevance of that as far as using volume. You want to see shifts that are taking place in the markets. I'm going to share with you one that has taken place over the last 2 days and some of the opportunities within that really sub-industry group rotation, but also how you can use that screening to help get you in front of areas that are starting to come in or in fact move out of favor. Small and mid-cap stocks are on the move. The Russell 2000 small cap index was the top performer this week. I'm going to share with you some names that I think you should at the very least be aware of in these smaller names. This week, as always, I like to share with you some of the backdrop as far as relevant news items that hit the radar this week that impacted. And then in some cases, really, we didn't see an impact, but really that is more telling than not. So in the beginning of the week, we did see consumer confidence fell in May. Also further on, we did see weekly jobless claims. They reached another pandemic low. Of course, good news there. April durable goods orders did fall, as well as consumer spending. So all of these items really worked well, as did the Q1 GDP was revised just a bit lower. And it really helped to quell a lot of those inflation fears, which in turn would bring higher interest rates, and certain areas would, of course, respond accordingly. We did, however, see core inflation surged to a 13-year high, and that was today. And interestingly, the markets, for the most part, were able to shrug that off. So that is really good news. When you are looking at the markets, you're looking to put new money to work. Investor sentiment, that backdrop, is going to be a really key component. So this is an interesting development today. After the long weekend next week, we are going to see more information that could conceivably give more intel as far as where investors' heads are as it relates to those inflation fears. We're going to get May manufacturing, PMI numbers, the unemployment rate, also factory orders, and those are the most relevant items that are due next week. But let's go ahead and get started. We want to take a look at the markets into the close. Today, we have closed the chapter on May, which historically can be a really tough period. That adage that you should sell in May and go away. Well, we did see the markets up again. S&P 500 up almost 1.5%, kind of inching up toward this prior high that we reached earlier in the month. But you can see generally it was a bit of a grind higher, which is fine. We'll take it. The RSI kind of leveling off. And this is all about the cross currents, the market's really trying to sort out this unprecedented period coming out of the pandemic. Big growth numbers. We're seeing inflation rise. we're being told by the Fed that inflation is transitory. So just a lot of back and forth battling, if you will, but there are themes emerging. And of course, we are going to get to that. The stochastics, this is another momentum indicator up here trending above 50. It's now a little bit overbought once it gets up above that 80 level. However, we can see that it can remain overbought for some time. Net, broader markets are in a nice uptrend here. So as usual from here, we want to drill further. We want to pull the curtain back, really get your arms around those areas that did outperform this week, and again with an eye toward getting in front of that outperformance. So we're looking at the sub industry sectors within the S&P 500. This is the 11 sectors, and as usual, I've gone ahead and put in that RSI, that relative strength, sorted it in descending order. We want to see again where that strength is. So up here in the upper left quartile are your stronger areas relative to the lower right. So real estate REIT stocks continue to lead. In essence, these are areas that are all about recovery. A lot of apartment and actually retail store REITs are doing fairly well. It is selective, however, not all names there. And then financials remaining up here in the forefront. They did underperform the broader markets this week, but longer term, they're holding up here really quite nicely. We'll get into some of the characteristics as to why. And here we have industrials. They did outperform this week. A couple of names I'm going to share with you in these industrial areas. And then communication services. This is all about internet related. XLC is the ticker. It's back up here at a new high. And it's all about two FANG stocks that are leaders in the communication services area. Of course, I'm talking about Facebook and Google. Both had really exceptional weeks. This is that move back into these higher multiple growth names. I do talk about this in my MEM Edge report as to why Facebook and Google are outperforming, and it has more to do than just growth. I'm going to review that again this week, so I urge you to go ahead and hit that trial button down below. You can take a 4-week peek at that newsletter, stay on top of rotation, and really get in front of some of these stocks that are going to outperform the markets. So from here, looking at these sectors, we can see energy lagging just a bit. We have to be real about it because year to date, they up here, energy stocks were up 42%. This type of pullback here is very, very common characteristic. It's finding support at that 21-day. We have a number of stocks. One of our energy names is up 100%. The others are also holding in quite well. And then moving right along, we can see technology. Now, this is an area that for my work, I've been on the prowl for a downtrend reversal. This is XLK, that technology ETF for the S&P. We had this nice double bottom taking place, and then we had that nice downtrend reversal that took place last week and was confirmed into this week, although it did fizzle a bit into the close. And all this has to do, of course, with inflation and interest rate. That is a driver here more recently of tech, but next up, we're going to share with you a clear-cut outperformer within technology. And then, of course, down here, consumer discretionary. Now, I do want to share this with you because we did get a couple of weeks ago CPI, that's the Consumer Price Index, another core inflationary number that was released, and it hit a super high number. So there was fear that consumers would pull back, keep their wallets covered, if you will, because of the higher pricing pressures. So consumer discretionary did get hit very hard. However, this week we are seeing a move back into these discretionary names. So that is quite encouraging. Of course, you want to see broader participation. The more groups that come to the table, the better the odds, if you will, for the markets to keep in an uptrend. So from here, we're going to take a look at some of these industry groupings that really drill down even further. For those of you not familiar with my work, I am very focused on high growth areas. Oftentimes that will lead me toward technology. But of course, we've seen very high growth numbers elsewhere, financials, energy. So we've been able to participate in those areas as well. So let's take a look again, that RSI, strength to weakness. And we can see semiconductors up here in the forefront. Again, MEM Edge subscribers, hello. You know that we have been on the prowl for this downtrend reversal to take place within semiconductors. A lot of dynamics that really can help this particular subsector within technology outperform. So we are seeing that nice downtrend reversal taking place. We have a couple of those leadership names that are participating and looking poised for further upside. So from here, we also can take a look at another area that has reversed its downtrend this week. The ticker is IGV, and this is the technology software ETF, a real bellwether for software stocks. Very encouraging to see it break back up above this key 50-day simple moving average, your outside momentum indicators trending upward. Very selective here, actually, both semis and software. So you want to make sure, if you are looking to participate, that you are in those leadership names, those stocks first out of the gate and exhibiting positive momentum and chart characteristics. From here, we can go ahead and move down to, actually, I want to share with you this daily chart of the S&P, the Russell 2000 index, because we did see it break back above this 50-day. It was up 2.6% for the week, so well ahead of, actually double the S&P 500. Now, we have had these other head fake downtrend reversal head fakes, so we're not entirely out of the woods, but with IWM, we can see the RSI is now positive. And then take a look at the momentum, that MACD. We had that black line up through the red, and now the black line is trading up above that net neutral zero. So we're going to take a look at some potential candidates within small caps. Of course, we ideally would want to see this type of very extensive upside action. But for now, I would tread lightly until we get back above that 230 level, indicating a confirmed uptrend is in fact taking place. So from here, I talked about a couple of areas that we are going to go ahead and drill down, take a quick look at. Let's go ahead and start with those small cap stocks. And I'll share with you a smattering of names to at least put on your radar. They're going to be in very various industry groupings. First up here is a retailer. This is Chico's. And a lot of these companies have come out with earnings, very constructive earnings. When you get into this world of, if you will, of small caps, you will see these triple-digit huge earnings numbers. And you certainly, when you compare to them to larger names, it can be very eye-opening, but also that's going to be your driver. So we can see CHS had this base breakout back here in the beginning of May, hit a new high and has pulled back. So it is poised now to break out of this secondary base. However, I am noting now that this MACD is rather high. So ideally, you want to get into these stocks just as that downtrend, that momentum is shifting into higher gear. So let's go ahead and move on. Take a look at another name that's in a very different area. This is Timken Steel, and another company. They did come out with their earnings back here. This is that gap up on earnings. The company came out with 272% year-over-year earnings. The stock did proceed to hit a new high in price, pulled back orderly to this upward trending 21-day simple moving average, and is now poised to for a secondary uptrend here. Your momentum indicators right here, mid neutral, so more upside ahead. And the company, the reason for their big growth and then recent resurgence here is the company is raising prices and they're not getting pushback. So that is good for their continued growth. Let's take a look at another small cap name here. Some of you may be familiar. It's called Funko, F-N-K-O. They make figurines that are related to popular figures, whether in movies or elsewhere. And we can see FNKO. This is another company that came out. This is that base breakout here in the beginning of this month on strong earnings, 700% year-over-year earnings, 85% above estimates, a little bit sloppy, but generally overall, it is finding support at this upward trending 10-day simple moving average, and then your outside momentum indicators are positive. Let's see if we can get to a couple of other names before we need to take a break. But this is Vista Outdoor, VSTO, big gap up here. This company did report their earnings again back here in early May. 827% year over year, 52% above estimates, propelled the stock into an uptrend. They do provide outdoor products, and in particular, those related to, I believe, shooting at targets and so forth. There is an ammunition shortage. I never would have known about it until I looked it up here to see why this stock was on the move with very big, heavy volume, and that's what that's all about, propelling the stock higher. MTW, this particular, this is Manitowoc, and we can see another company that did come out with earnings again early May, pulled back, but is reversing that downtrend. They did top revenues. They do a lot in the way of tower crane engineering. This is an infrastructure type of play. OMI had this huge move this week, all about Investor Day, companies looking to grow their business by 50% going into 2026. So when you see that type of big move up, if you are a trader that stays, perhaps you are looking at movers pre-market, just to share with you some of the characteristics on an intraday that could tell you that the stock has further upside. This is a 15-minute intraday chart. You want to wait for that third bar to print. And if that third bar is above that first 15-minute close, generally speaking, that does bode well for more upside statistically. But now here we can see the stock is very much due a period of consolidation. It did get oversold, but we could see certainly more upside with this. Last name up on small caps, and you can see it's rather diverse as far as the areas that are certainly interesting to me as far as breaking out of bases on big volume. This is TGH. They do provide those big containers that you see on ships that then get transported onto rails and so forth. And the company actually was another early or mid-May earnings grower, 582% year over year. This is that number posted at this juncture. But take a look, this more recent over the past 2 days, this is another area where there is a shortage in those containers. So it is driving the growth prospects. We're going to take a brief break here. When we get back, we have lots more to cover. Hi, this is Mary Ellen McGonagle, author of the MEM Edge Report. In my bi-weekly report, I highlight top growth stocks as they enter buy zones, and I educate subscribers on why that stock is attractive both technically and fundamentally. In addition, you'll be alerted to when it's time to exit that stock based on negative technical action. And this bi-weekly report gives you confidence by providing fundamental insights into why an area of the market is strong and which companies within that strong area have the best growth profiles that'll help propel that stock higher. Subscribers to the MEM Edge Report are benefiting from my expertise in uncovering top performing growth stocks. Subscribe now to take advantage of my special trial offer. And we are back. I am going to go ahead from here and share with you an area of the markets. I talked about a sub-industry grouping that has seen a lot in the way of activity. So quite simply, you can run a screen for the most actives on a given day or even for the week. This is when I worked for 15 years with institutional portfolio managers. This was a very common screen at the end of the week, because what you would do is take a look at those stocks that had above average volume and then sort it by industry group. And when you see a large percentage of stocks within a given industry group exhibiting high activity, it very often will point you toward a rotation. So I did run that screen. I'm going to share with you certainly this area. This is Chronos Group, and it is the marijuana stocks are on the move. I was first alerted to this. I did the yesterday, I did the pitch with Erin Swendlin, and she was the first to certainly highlight. And then upon running that screen today, it was confirmed that we are seeing a potential move back into these stocks. So CRON, let's take a look at the characteristics that would imply, or at the very least, point you toward these downtrend reversals. We can see that the stock broke back above this 50-day simple moving average. That's going to be the big line in the sand, so to speak. We can go back here, see that this downtrend reversal was met with resistance. So we did break back above that 50, very, very big. This is that volume that I talked about. And then we have the RSI up there. It is touching into potentially overbought. And then also we can see the MACD trending upwards. So from here, let's go ahead and take a look at some other stocks in this industry group that also hit that screen as far as being more active. And we can see this one is not quite ready for prime time. This is Grow Generation, GRWG. But again, a break above that 50-day would confirm a potential downtrend reversal. We have that RSI up here. Also, the MACD black line crossed up through the red. So we do have the ear markings of a potential downtrend reversal. This company does provide as far as materials and nutritional for soils as it relates to growing. On May 12th, they did report earnings 267% above estimates. Let's take a look at a couple of other names before exiting this area. This is Sundial, SNDL. Now, what you're seeing here, a lot of these stocks had big moves. This is all about the election and then other subsequent discussion as far as the move into legalizing on the state level or federal level as well. So again, this is the reason for the resurgence here more recently, that Congress may be readdressing that. So we have a break above that 50-day simple moving average with this nice RSI moving upward as well. CGC is another name that we can take a quick look at because it's not quite ready for prime time. Two characteristics will need to take place. That would be a break above this blue 200-day, and then again, ideally a break above this red 50-day simple moving average, because again, you can go back and see how that can act as resistance, these moving averages. So once we can break above that, because we're getting very nice volume characteristics, this is telling us that investors want in after a very quiet period. So once we do see that break up, that could be very, very interesting for that. And then one last name here, ACB, Aurora Cannabis. A little bit sloppy, but it has broken above those moving averages. So certainly these names, each of them, at the very least, could be on your radar screen. So from here, I did want to talk a little bit about some of these names that are in the throes of reversing their downtrends. And you'll see this is another area that's quite mixed, but I did talk to you. Let's go ahead and revisit the consumer discretionary, and we can see that as a group, it is in the throes of reversing this downtrend. So from here, we can take a look at a couple of stocks that are also in that phase as far as potentially reversing their downtrends. Let me go ahead from here and see if I can pull up a more marked up chart. Yep, that is one. But the stock I'm going to be sharing with you is called Farfetch, FTCH. This was a big winner for our MEM Edge report, up 131%. I talked earlier about volume, and that was the big characteristic. We did get in a little bit earlier, but big winner for us. And the reason I'm pointing this out to you is when I'm on the lookout for downtrend reversals, I want to be in those stocks that have exhibited clear-cut uptrends in the past. This uptrend was very deserved, if you will. This is a online luxury platform company, and the earnings are there. So this recent attempt, we're not quite there yet with this downtrend reversal, is all about earnings. They did come out on May 13 with their earnings. They came in above estimates. So again, I'm going to want to see that break back above this 50-day. So certainly worth putting on your radar. Let's take a look at a couple of other retailers that are in the turnaround phase, if you will. This is Urban Outfitters, and the company has several subsidiary companies that are actually doing quite well. So we can see this gap up. They came out with earnings earlier this week, and the company posted 138% year-over-year earnings growth. And in response, the stock did gap up above all of these simple moving averages, and it does appear poised to be in an uptrend. Our outside momentum indicators are positive, so a couple of retailers there. Let's go ahead and move on to these downtrend reversals that I'm seeing in a different sector, and this is industrials. This is Spirit Aerosystems. SPR is the ticker. Now, from my understanding, SPR is one of the primary providers of products, if you will, to Boeing. Boeing had a big week. A lot in the way of mixed news, but this is another downtrend reversal. So SPR also in the throes. And so we're seeing a lot of constructive characteristics. Again, I talk about looking at these prior ability to have these lengthy upside momentum. So we had a very lengthy pullback here. Take a look. This is what is very, very common. We can go back here to this December period where the stock is in a go nowhere period, pulls back. And this is what you want to be on the prowl for. When that downtrend reverses, you can see from here, the stock went 38 up to 52. It's not a guarantee, but it is certainly very relevant that we are seeing a similar potential downtrend reversal here. Another industrial name, HXL. This is all about numbers, another gap up, big volume, outside momentum indicators turning positive. So from here, we can go ahead and take a look at some of the turnarounds in technology. This is Taiwan Semi, TSM. Just this today broke back above its 50. Now, I will tell you from my work, I'm all over these semis. Their growth numbers are tremendous. They have this great ability for lengthy rallies, but TSM is not going to be my first pick. I want to see those stocks that similar to the industry group. And in fact, I want those names that are outperforming the industry group, because those are your leadership names. As the group continues to advance, those leadership names will outperform. So again, use that link below, MEM Edge report, and you will be provided with those leadership type stocks. One other area that I did want to, or actually I wanted to share with you what it would look like if this downtrend, now this is not the prettiest of charts, but this is Wayfair, big winner out of the pandemic, rather sloppy since then. But when you have a downtrend reversal attempt, oftentimes it will fail very quickly. And in that case, by failure, I mean it breaks back down below that simple moving average. And in fact, we did get that case taking place. So we're going to tie it up there. Those of you that like what you've seen, hit that like button and go ahead and trial that MEM Edge report. We have a nice long weekend. It can really fill you in further beyond today's show. Have a great long weekend, everyone. See you next week.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.